Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton. Episode 97. We got a good line for you ahead of UFC 280. We're first going to be joined by ranked UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush to preview his fight against Mateusz Gamrot. Beneil's ranked 6, Gamrot 9. Pivotal fight in the lightweight division. The winner could be getting a title shot. Obviously, Volkanovski is serving as the backup fighter. When I spoke to Beneil thought he was the backup, so he was kind of vocal about saying he was a bit disappointed. The only reason he was going to Abu Dhabi was so he was the backup and because the title fight was on. So obviously a bit disappointed with that now, but really good chat with Beneil like always. We're then going to be joined by Volkan Oezdemir to preview his fight against Nikita Krylov. Volkan ranked 8, Krylov ranked 10, another pivotal fight in the division. On the prelims, Oezdemir coming off that win over Paul Craig. Krylov coming off that quick knockout win over Gustafsson, both on the same card, both making a pretty quick turnaround. This is a really intriguing matchup, one that Volkan has a lot of confidence to be able to find that knockout after spending the whole camp in Sweden like usual with Hamzat and all those in that cast and that crew over there. We close things out talking to middleweight AJ Dobson to preview his fight. AJ obviously coming off that UFC debut loss. Disappointing. He kind of spoke about what went wrong, what went right for him, and what he kind of takes away from that heading into this fight. Going out to Abu Dhabi to take on Arman Petrosyan. He knows it's a tough fight, but he has a lot of confidence, especially with working with Matt Brown, that he'll get the win and get that first UFC win. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush, who's fighting at UFC 280 in a big fight. Beneil, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. I enjoy talking to you. Like, obviously, lightweight title fights on the card. Like, did you think you might have had a shot at being part of that title fight, or did you always think it was going to be Oliver Islam?
So, once I the last fight because of the injury, I knew it kind of put me in the back of the line. So I didn't expect to be put into the main event, but I was actually hoping for that rematch with Islam. But this is also a great fight. Gamrot, he's a stud, so I'm excited to fight him.
And obviously, you had that injury that took you out of the Islam fight. Like, when did you kind of get fully healthy and ready to train 100% again?
Let's see. It happened February. I was uh, I was I started doing light training about 6 weeks after, so somewhere in March.
And then you mentioned it there. Like, you're really looking forward to this fight with Gamrot. Like, this is a guy that's kind of been on the uprise. Like, what have you kind of made of his UFC run so far?
He's a stud. Mixes it up really well, and really tough. He was a 45 champ and 55 champ at KSW. He he's got a lot of potential, and I feel like there's the old guard, and then there's the new guard, and I think he's like one of the first generations of the new guard. So I think he's the top 5 level.
Are you a bit disappointed though? You are fighting him and not fighting one of those like name guys like a Poirier or Chandler or anyone like that.
So those are the guys I would call the old guard.
Yeah.
Even though they're still in rankings wise, they're pretty high up. I think this guy's yeah, I think he's better. He's either at the same level or better than these guys. So to be able to fight somebody better, that's important. Obviously, I'm not going to get as much visibility because Poirier superstar, Chandler, he's either a superstar or a superstar in the making. They're both on the verge. Well, I mean, I think Poirier already is, but Chandler might be just right up there too. If he wins his fight with Poirier, I think he'll be a superstar.
Going out to Abu Dhabi too. Like, is this something you wanted to do, or is this just like you obviously have to be on it just because the title fight's out there?
It's mostly because of the title fight. Ideally, I'd rather fight in my own backyard. Vegas is nice, that card in Anaheim, that's even nicer. But yeah, or San Diego, because I was ready about that San Diego time. So all these cards were great, but since the title fight's in Abu Dhabi, then Abu Dhabi it is.
Have you been told for sure that like you are the backup? Like, I think everyone just assumes you are, but have you got like confirmation you are?
I've been yes. Manager told me I'm backup, and then they said unless like some kind of like something crazy happens, I'm basically in for the title shot.
So obviously you're making 155 on the dot then, like just to be safe.
Yes.
But does that make it a bit harder though? Like maybe you get a title shot, or like does it take away some focus or Gamrot, or do you not even think about any of that?
Nah, I just focus on Gamrot because if I'm really prepared for him, then I'm prepared for these guys too. Because Gamrot has good striking and good wrestling, and so if I need all those things if I want to fight Islam or if I want to fight Charles. I have to be ready for all of it. So I've been trying to just stay as well rounded as possible, just to be able to scramble the best that I can.
I don't know, for you, what's it like being on part of this card? Because to me, I think this is the probably best card they're gonna do this year.
It's cool, man. Like they said, it's the biggest card of the year, and the fact that I'm on it, and that shows that I have value in the company, and I really appreciate putting me on that, and just knowing I have value in the company. I don't talk a lot, but I do appreciate the UFC and what they've done for me, and I hope they appreciate what I've done for them. So it's just something simple like that.
With Gamrot, like how do you think you match up against it? Because that Armin fight, like he kind of showed his full skill set, like those crazy scrambles, which I think this fight could be pretty similar like that.
So I didn't really think about him before until that fight. Once I watched that fight, I was like, man, I want to right away. Like this looks such a great fight. You know, Waiting for a top guy would have been the smart choice, but watching as an athlete, as a competitor, watching that fight with Armand, just I was just like shadow boxing, and I was like, I'm telling my wife I gotta go, I gotta do something, I gotta go run, and just it was like the fight was inspiring is the best way to put it. So I want to fight those guys who inspire me, who make me want to rise up to the occasion, and I think he's one of those guys. I think he's the first generation of the new guard, and I think these guys are going to be better than the old generation. They're going to be more well-rounded, and they're going to be better, and I have to be able to beat these guys.
Going out to Abu Dhabi as well, like are you going out a bit early to get accustomed to the time and like just the heat and everything out there?
Yeah, we're going to go out a little bit earlier, and I'll probably end up fighting somewhere around midnight, I think, from the math I've done, but I would have to check again. So just the whole thing is just stay up late, train late. That's all.
Yeah, I think the pay-per-view starts at like 2 or 3 Eastern, which is like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. Pacific. So like, and I think you guys are opening it, so you're gonna be like right around there. So like, do you even try to get on their schedule, or do you just kind of stay on normal schedule and just be ready to fight at like noon?
Um, I'll um, I'll have to try to. I'm gonna try to change my schedule because
Yeah.
I can't be falling asleep right before I want to fight every day.
Mhm.
So I'll definitely be changing my schedule.
With Gamrot, like, how do you see this playing out? Like, his lone loss was a very close fight. Like, a lot of people thought he won it. Super durable guy, like, good striking, good grappling. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out?
Um, I'm gonna finish him. It's not. That's how I see it playing out. I'm gonna
Mhm.
finish him.
Most likely submission, you think, or do you think you could catch him with your hands?
Whatever comes that day, but pretty sure I'm gonna finish him.
With this one too, like, do you like having 3 rounds, or do you wish this would have been like a main event somewhere so you could have 5 rounds for this fight just in case?
I mean, I have no preference because you have to understand. Um, I haven't been scheduled in the. I mean, I was scheduled for 5 rounds with the Islam. What the difference is, like you either push yourself harder for those 3 rounds or you pace yourself for the five
Mhm.
rounds. It's just one of those things. So, um, 3 5 rounds doesn't matter. You just got to win the fight. You got to look for a finish. You got to do your thing. So that's pretty much it.
You go out there and say finish Gamrot. Like, do you think you're 100% next, or do you still worry about that Poirier Chandler fight and maybe they go with one of them?
Nah, I don't think Poirier or Chandler are gonna get the next shot. I think what the only thing that could be a problem is like, for example, Habib wants to come back.
Mhm.
That would be the only thing is like that's the way the UFC was telling me. Like I was talking to Sean, he's like, well, the only thing we have like, what if Habib wants to come back? And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's the only thing. Like that was the only exception, something like that.
You've been booked against both Oliveira, Islam, both of them never came to fruition. Like, do you have a preference of which one you'd rather fight for the belt?
I want to fight them both. So whichever scenario allows me to do that. So I think I'm gonna end up fighting Islam for the belt. But if it's Oliveira, that'd be great too. And then I can hopefully Islam will win a couple of win a fight or two, and then I'll fight him again. Fight him. So whatever the scenario, I'd like to fight them both because I think they're they're very good, both of them.
How do you think you match up against them? Because to me, you're like one of the more underrated guys, and not even just the lightweight, like the whole UFC. Because you're grappling, like you can catch anyone, and your striking doesn't kind of get the respect it deserves.
Yeah. So I think with Charles, it's really about not allowing him to overwhelm you,
Mhm.
with his pressure and whatnot, and kind of meeting that intensity. And I think I could do that no problem. Actually, meeting people's intensity is kind of like my favorite thing to do, you know. And then with Islam, it's it's about being able to play the game, being able to play the feints, being able to draw him out into deep water, and you know, make him make mistakes. Don't be the opposite of how I would fight Charles. Basically, don't try to match that intensity. Because if you try to be intense with him, he takes advantage of it. He reverses you with it. So focus on feints, focus on misdirection, things like that.
Just a couple more things. Like, obviously, a long trip out to Abu Dhabi. Like, who is heading out there with you then?
Um, I got obviously my cornerman, Nolan Tickman, Marcus Mollica, my wrestling coach. I have Rafael Cordero, and then I have a few sparring partners. Chris Rodriguez. I have Spike Carlisle, and finally Michael Perez. So I got a lot of guys coming in to help me.
I assume your wife isn't going to be going just with the kid and everything.
No, we are. We're going as a family.
Oh, you are making that trip then. That'll be
Yeah,
nice to have them around fight week like usual.
yeah, man. I'm not trying to be apart from my wife and my daughter. People always talk about like, oh, you need to be away to get into this like fight mode or whatever. I'm like, fighting's always been the easiest thing in my life. Like, you don't you don't
Mm.
need to like twist my arm to fight. Like, I could I could be sitting on the couch eating cookies, and then you tell me let's go fight 3 rounds. I'd be like, cool, let's go. It's not an issue. My The hard thing is being a dad, being a husband, and being consistent with that. So fighting's never been hard for me. Fighting's always been like my first language. If it was my first nature, it was never like a second nature thing where I have to turn it on. Anyways, yeah, my wife's coming, my daughter's coming. Spend some time with each other in Abu Dhabi, and I worked really hard to be the favorite. I want to stay the favorite.
Mm. Um, like just because the injury too, like a bit of a layoff, like haven't fought since February of 2021. Like, is that a worry for you, or do you not really think that ring rust is real or anything?
May of 2021. So
Or
it's
yeah, May. Sorry, yeah.
bro, I just miss fighting. I don't know about ring rust. This might be the longest I've been off. I'm not. I don't know about ring rust, so we'll find out. Before I was in the UFC, like I used to compete in jiu-jitsu. I used to spend like a year off from. I do one fight in MMA, and then I go do back to jiu-jitsu. I didn't really feel anything like ring rust, so it's hard to say. But either way, if there's ring rust, I'll just shake it off in the first round.
Two final things. Are you hoping get done with your fight and sit octagon side then for that title fight?
Well, let's see. I'll be. And then I got like 3 fights before me. Yeah, I should be able to pull it off because I got to go do the
Hmm.
interviews, and I'd like to shower ideally because whatever. Yeah, I think we'll be able to pull it off.
And then just last thing, like you get past Gamrot, like when do you think that time frame is for that title fight? Like, are you hoping it can be like early first quarter next year?
I hope so. Not gonna do this forever, so I'd like to get as many fights as I can. And being out for a year and a half has been kind of miserable. Not gonna lie.
Well, Beneil, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure, brother.
All right, we're joined by UFC light heavyweight Volkan Oezdemir, who's making a quick turn around at UFC 280. Volkan, how's it going?
I'm doing great, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, you got the big win at UFC London in July. Like, how quickly did this fight come together? Because it seemed like you and Krylov got booked up pretty quick after that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the show, I was actually doing the at the end of my fight, I was actually doing the post-fight interview, and while I was in the room, Gustafsson was fighting.
Mhm.
Gustafsson was fighting, and he was live. I was watching the screen. And the fight was on, and then it happened what it happened, and I was I was feeling bad, and in the locker room, in the media room, we already talked about the Krylov fight possible for me, and at the same time, I think he also said something at the post-fight conference, at the post-fight interview. So it was a fight destined to make. So we already were supposed to fight once, and it didn't happen. So now is the right time.
And you moved to Sweden and are training with Gus and Hamzat and all them. Like, is this a bit of like a kind of a revenge fight, getting one back for Gus after that loss?
Yeah, definitely. We I did all the camp with Alex. We were training together for the same event. 2 months of training, and we whenever we do this, we expect to come back home with two victories, obviously, right? So it feels really bad for me also, and definitely I'm gonna get it back for him.
And you two have kind of fought very similar opponents. Like, is this a fight you guys have been booked like before and never came to fruition? Like, is this a fight you just thought always was going to happen one day?
Yeah, I mean, you always depend about how good you're doing in the rankings, who you're fighting, and everything. So Krylov was always around me. We were supposed to fight once, but it didn't happen. And now he's on a solid win, probably the greatest win of his career. And I just came back also in the win column, so it's definitely a good fight to make.
What did you make of his fight against Gus? Because he just kind of caught him early, and Gustafsson wasn't really able to recover.
Yeah, he connected soon. He connected pretty early. The first punch rocked him, and he capitalized on it. Right, he never stopped after that, and he pushed the pace, keep on rocking him, and that's what got him the win. He's actually a pretty fast starter, really aggressive. So definitely it's something I will need to watch out for.
I Do you think though he's gonna try to wrestle you just because how dangerous your striking is, or do you think he's gonna stand and trade with you?
Yeah, the thing is, like, he's definitely gonna try to punch a little bit, probably hypnotize me with some striking, and once he's gonna feel comfortable, he's gonna shoot, like try to surprise me and shoot directly. I think this is gonna be part of the game plan. Probably fight me against the cage and making my arms tired. So it's gonna be, he's a complete fighter. He's doing both. He has a lot of submission win as well, some knockouts. So I really expect to see a mixed martial artist in front of me.
How much did your last fight against Craig kind of benefit you with this one? Because he was a guy that was trying to get down to the ground a lot, and that's similar, I think, what Krylov could be trying to do to you.
Yeah, I mean, Craig is a little bit different because he like to be on his back. I think if Krylov will try to take me down, he will want to be on top to put me on my back. So it's a little bit different. But obviously, I trained a lot of ground for Paul Craig. I feel really confident with my defense, with everything, with my offense as well. So I welcome all aspects of the fight now.
And then getting that win over Craig, like how big of a relief was that to finally get back in the win column? Because it was a long, like 2 years for you, just with the obviously COVID and not being able to fight to finally win again.
Yeah, I mean, I think I fought twice in 2 years, almost and a half or something like that.
Mhm.
So like time is freezing. Like it's like nothing is going on, because when you come out from the losses, it's not the same. Like everything is more slow. Everybody around is less friendly. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. Feels good to be on a winning streak now. So definitely, give me some motivation back, some pump again, and I can't wait for my next victory.
How do you think you and Krylov match up against each other?
I think it's going to be a firework because he's a fast starter. I'm also a fast starter. We both have most of our win in the first round, so definitely if he comes for the bang, he knows I'm also a really good counter punches. So it's going to be definitely a good matchup for me.
We talked a bit earlier how it's kind of right and the wrong for Gustafsson, but is it also right and the wrong of getting one on Fight Island just because you're 0-2 there in Abu Dhabi? Like, is that part of it too? Is finally getting a win out there?
Yeah, definitely. Abu Dhabi, I was kidding and say, yeah, but this is not my favorite place because I went twice over there. I had 2 times a loss. So it's time to right the wrong. Definitely now I'm prepared also with my new team, All Star. Everything felt really great for the last camp, and everything is feeling really great now. We just started camp, official camp last week, so definitely we're just gonna go faster from now on.
And then with this one too, like working in Sweden, like how beneficial has that been for your career?
Actually, really good because you give me more motivation, find the fire back. Also, having some coach that you want to listen, you have to listen, because they have, the intensity and you believe in them and everything makes you work harder, So definitely it was a big push. It was a big push. So it's really great for the future.
You've obviously been to Dubai twice, but this time around, similar to last time, like it's gonna be a normal time, like because it's just local time for Dubai. Like, are you gonna head out early and try to get accustomed to the time and the heat again, or is it just like you're just gonna go out for usual?
I'm not sure yet. Maybe probably just a few days earlier, but nothing too crazy. Definitely the work will be done in Sweden, and the rest, just need to be acclimatized and everything. It just take a few days, and you're just gonna have to calculate everything.
How do you see this one playing out? Like both you and Krylov, very good finishers, a lot of early finishes for both you guys. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out?
Yeah, this one is definitely not gonna be past the first round. This is gonna be a firework. I expect him to come really fast in the first round, and this is what I'm gonna do anyway, as always. So it's gonna be a knockout for me in the first round.
And then what's it like too for you to be a part of this card? Because to me, I think this is probably the best card they're gonna do this year. So there's gonna be a lot of eyeballs, and you get that first round finish. Like what's it kind of like to be a part of this card? Because you can make a big statement here.
Yeah, no, this card is amazing. It's like almost most of the fights could be a fight night main events.
Mhm.
So it's actually really nice, um, and it's going to be a lot of people watching it. So definitely, it's going to be time for me to show off my skills, show off a really nice knockout, and show everybody I'm back on the scene.
And then you finish Krylov. Like, where do you think that puts you in the division? Because although he's ranked below you, like you're a guy that's always kind of right near the top.
Yeah, I think I will need one top five, definitely one, maybe twice, depending on how clear is the finish, until I can get a shot at the title. So maybe one more top five and maybe a title challenger matchup or a title shot directly. It always depends. You need to show a nice finish. You need to make the people talk about you. So then you have some weights behind you as well. So you always depend about that. But definitely one or two fights, and then I can pretend for a shot at the title.
Just a couple more things. Like all signs point to Yuri Glover at the end of the year. Like, are you surprised they're running that back, or do you think that was the fight to make?
I think it's really good, and it's actually really nice for Jiri to do it because it was actually a tough fight for him as well. Maybe he goes with Jan or something else, and then it's going to be an easier fight, maybe an easier matchup. Because styles makes fight. So it's actually really nice also for Glover because he's old. He's getting older now. If he's going down the ranking, I don't know how much he will want to climb back up. So to be there again and fighting for the belt is actually really nice for Glover. It's a really nice move from Jiri.
Do you root for Yuri to stay the champion then, so you can get that rematch when he's the champion?
Yeah, definitely. This is gonna be good for me because obviously, I got lost against him, and then he got the champion after that. So he also brings some weight to him, to our fight, and definitely this is the best way for me to apply my revenge.
I know just two more things. Like obviously, I know you still can't get into the U.S. Like, is there any closer to solving that so you can fight in the States, or is it still just going to be Europe and Abu Dhabi?
For the moment, I cannot, but I still haven't applied for the. I didn't do the petition,
Mhm.
so it's actually gonna be taken care of soon, before the end of the year. Now we just had contact with the UFC about that, so we're gonna make them work and see what we can do about it.
If that all gets sorted out, like how big of a relief will that be where you don't have to like wait for the UFC to go to Europe or Dubai, where you could get
Yeah,
more fights and be more
that
active?
that actually will be really good, and. It's going to be great because then I can also follow up with the guy whenever they travel. I can be training in the States if I want to. I can be in PI and all of the stuff like that. It just giving me more possibilities.
Just last thing, like end of October, probably going to be it for you this year. So like, what is the goal then for next year?
End of October, then I can go easy with my end of the year probably, depending what's up. But then, like you just said, I need to find some fight outside. Hopefully they run back with UFC France, because UFC
Mhm.
France was amazing. I was there as a guest. It was a crazy atmosphere, a lot of people. Everybody was chanting. It was actually really nice. So that will be good for me to fight there again. Whenever it's Paris or Marseille, then we will see. But this will be good, and then just wait for the next year. I want to fight. I want to be active. So at least I can be 3 times fighting. It will be perfect. And maybe four. Let's see what's up.
And ideal goal probably maybe late next year is fighting for that belt, or do you think it'd probably be early 2024?
Yeah, like I say, you always depend what's happening. With the title fight, the rematch. How busy is the champ? I think Ankalaev also will be one of the next challenger. So whenever you make your spots, you're also gonna be after some other people, unless they do a
Mhm.
title challenger matchup. But I think Ankalaev definitely deserve to be fighting for the belt next. So yeah, let's see.
Well, Volkan, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Yes, cool. Thank you so much.
All right, we're joined by UFC middleweight AJ Dobson, who's back in action. AJ, how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Like, obviously, debut didn't go your way. Like, what do you take away from that fight? Because it was a pretty close fight against Jacob Malkoun.
Yeah, honestly, that one hurt, but the biggest thing was I was really injured going into that one. My last three fights, I had a really bad bucket handle meniscus tear. So I think, what I can take from that is to understand that I'm human, and I'm at the UFC level. So every fight I have to, make sure I'm close to as 100% as possible. And if I need a surgery, get it instead of trying to, push it. But it is what it is. You live and learn, and hopefully down the line I'll be able to get that one back.
So after that fight, like obviously in February, like was this the time frame then to fight in October, or is this a bit later than what you thought?
Well, right after that fight, I had gotten my knee surgery. So I was just looking at dates, anything that they had, honestly. But the biggest thing was my team wanted me to have enough time to recover, go through a proper camp or a proper like pre-camp, and then be able to fully do a proper October. Perfect.
And going up to Abu Dhabi, like, is this something you want, or is it just kind of how it all played out?
Honestly, I wanted to fight on Matt's card in November, but Mick said that the matchup that I had, that they needed it on that Abu Dhabi card. So I just had to bite the bullet and take it. Definitely didn't want to fly 17 hours, but it'll be an experience.
And with Armin, like, how familiar were you when you got that call?
Not too familiar. I did see his Dana White Contender Series fight. After I got the announcement, looked up his fights and stuff like that, and got familiar with him now. But I knew him from the Contender Series.
And with Matt's fight, like, would that have been like cool to be on the same card as him then?
Yeah, that was one of my goals. One of my goals is to fight on the same card as him. I growing up, I idolized him. Watched him on The Ultimate Fighter, played with him on the video game. One of my favorite characters. And then I was able to meet him in real life and train with him to this day. So it would have been a nice, how do you say, like a nice feather in my cap to be able to close the door on that and be able to fight on the same card as him, as one of my childhood heroes. So.
Is it still surreal for you to be able to train with him and like him kind of be like a mentor for you?
Absolutely. Every day I see him, every time I train, I'm still, that kid in high school, that kid in middle school. That's like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? So, every time we're sparring, I see his mouth open, and he's swinging hard. It lets me know that I'm doing the right things and that, I'm on the right path. So it's definitely surprising every time though.
And then with Arman, like 1-1 in the UFC, beat Gregory Rodriguez in like a very fun kind of fight and just got kind of out grappled against Kai. Like, how do you think you match up against him? Because he's a very good striker, and like obviously Kai was just able, or Barala was just able to kind of take him down and hold him there.
Yeah, he has really good Muay Thai. I think he's a Muay Thai champion or something like that. I think our grappling kind of negates each other. We'll see who worked harder, but I think on the stand-up, sure, he's a lot more complete, but I think I'm a little bit faster. I'm a little bit more explosive. So if I play my game, I think I'll be able to maybe edge out the stand-up.
Is there any pressure on you going to this one? Like, just because we've seen tons of guys like in the UFC get cut after 0-2. Like, I don't think you'd get cut just because of your style and how exciting you are. But like, is there a lot of pressure on you going to this one?
No, not really. Not really. There's always pressure going into a fight. But, this time around, after I got my surgery, I'm 100%. I'm just looking to have fun. I'm looking to be exciting. I'm not really thinking about, like, oh, I have to win. I just want to be exciting. I want to put on a show, and I want to show the fans who I am, So if I can get that done and get the win, that'll be awesome.
And then with this one, like, do you just kind of imagine it's going to be a striking fight to the most part?
Maybe, I'm sure he's been working on his grappling. So he might think that, I think that he's just a striker. So he might try to surprise me with the grappling. But, either way the fight goes, I think it'll be a fun fight. I think he'll definitely test me on the feet and everything like that. So it'll be fun.
Are you doing anything different in the training camp? Because obviously they're setting it as the pay-per-view to like be local time there. So I think like prelims start at like 9 or 10 on the East Coast. So like, are you training and like trying to get ready to fight at like 10:30, 11, or like, are you like, how's that kind of working?
So one of the biggest things we've been doing is my hardest days, like the wrestling days and the sparring days, we like to get that done in the morning. So I'll usually get that. I'll usually be done with my hardest practice by like 11. You know what I mean? So we're starting to work with the time change from now, so it won't be too much of a problem.
Do you plan to stay on like the Eastern time, or are you gonna try to convert to their time?
Yeah, I think the 3 days before I fly out, I'm gonna try and match up the same time, and then hopefully get as much sleep as I can, so the time switch doesn't mess me up. But yeah, we're planning on that. We've been focusing on that for the last couple of weeks, so shouldn't be too much of an issue.
And obviously Matt's gone out there as well. So like, how much does that benefit you, where he's kind of telling you about it, what's it like, and the flight, and kind of all the time and all that?
I mean, picking Matt's brain has been one of the best things. This morning we had a session. He's a wealth of knowledge. So anytime I have a question, anytime I need something, he's always there to kind of let me know. So I'm definitely appreciative of him.
Are you going out to Dubai any early, or is it just the usual whenever they all send you guys out?
Yeah, well, we wanted to go out a little bit earlier. We wanted to, go at least like 2 weeks earlier, but the earliest they could have us go out was, I think, that Sunday. Mm-hmm. So, well, it'll be enough time to get acclimated and stuff, but definitely want us to come out a little bit earlier.
And then the heat out there as well. Like, that's how do you kind of get ready to deal with that? Because like whenever they go out there, it seems like people's cardio, like it fades a bit, where it's just because it's so hot and humid out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can really do to prepare for that. Maybe get in the sauna, do some pads in the sauna and stuff like that. But it's just an experience. I'm Jamaican, so I'm used to the heat anyway. Mm-hmm. But it'll definitely be an experience dealing with that heat. Hopefully, it's not too big of an issue.
At least it might be able to help your weight cut, help you sweat a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
With this one, like, how do you kind of see it playing out then?
It depends. I think it'll either be a 3-round war or maybe I'll catch him early. I can't really. You never know. A fight's a fight, but I think it's either going to be a 3-round just war, or I might surprise him with my speed.
You get your hand raised. Like, what are those emotions like getting that first UFC win? Because it's a big deal to get to the UFC, but then it's another thing to get a win in the UFC.
Yeah, it's gonna feel so good. After all this hard work, years of consistent training, it'll really just solidify that I'm doing the right thing if I get my hand raised. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
And make the plane ride home a lot better.
For sure.
With it too, like, you get your hand raised like end of October, probably it for you then this year. Like, what is kind of that next step looking like? Is it hopefully early next year then?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, however the UFC wants to play it, if I get out of this fight, no injury. I mean, the Contender Series fight, I was willing to fight that weekend. They wanted me to fight that weekend. I just couldn't because I was injured. But if I'm healthy and I'm ready to go, I wouldn't mind taking another fight before the end of the year, honestly.
Who is going out there with you? Just with Matt's fight in November, like, is he coming out or is he going to stay back then?
I think Matt might be staying back to prepare for his fight, but Coleman's going to be in my corner, and I'm going to have a couple other people. We're going to Abu Dhabi, so we got to deal with passports and all.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of coaches that are on the list, and then we're trying to figure that out right now.
You got anything to? Do you have anything to pass the time on the flight, or is it more just hoping to sleep?
Honestly, I'm just hoping to sleep. Honestly, I mean, a couple podcasts, a book here and there, but honestly, I really want to sleep so I can I don't feel the change too much.
You beat Arman. Like, where do you think that puts you? Because even though he's won the UFC, like his wins over Gregory Rodriguez, who's looked very good in the UFC, like, where do you think that kind of puts you?
I think that puts me right back in the mix. It would be amazing if I can get through this fight, if I can get one of those guys, Cal or RoboCop. So I think a win over Arman puts me right back there.
What's it like for you too? Both your UFC fights on pay-per-views in front of fans. Like, a lot of people haven't even been in the UFC for a couple of years and they've just been stuck at the Apex, and you get both your fights in front of fans.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me want to go that much harder. It makes me want to put on that much more of a show. I'm one of those fighters that, I like to lay it out on the line. I like to be exciting. I was a big fan of MMA growing up. You know what I mean? I never really watched the traditional sports. So I always go into my fights as a fan. You know what I mean? So I want to do things that fans would want to see. So I'm just excited to put on a show and go all out.
What's it like for you then, as the big fan, being a part of this card? Like, probably to me, biggest card they're going to do this year, or the November one, Madison Square Garden. Both of them are really good, but like, what's it like to be a part of this card and like kind of seeing all the big names that you're going to see on Fight Week?
Honestly, I'm honored. It's been such a privilege to be a part of this, part of the UFC. My first fight, even though I lost, it was such a big event. Izzy was there, had all these people around, so it really made me feel like, I'm here. I'm one of the guys. So I'm excited.
Just last thing, like, what is the goal then for next year? Like, we kind of talked about that early fight. Like, I know your guy likes to be as active as possible. Like, what's like 2023, like the ideal year for you then?
I want to be booked. I want to be booked that whole year. I was injured the last 4 years, my last 3 fights. So I kind of had to space them out, for my health. But now I really want to make up for lost time, and I really want to, cut my teeth in this division.
Well, AJ, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.